March 8th is observed as International Women's Day, a day that gives recognition to our women and girls. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Public Service Union appreciates all women and girls and their contribution to our society. And for that, we say Happy International Women's Day. Despite this, our 21st century, gender inequality and discrimination is still present in our society. As we try to bridge this gap, just take a minute to think about what our world will be like if there are no gender inequalities, no discrimination, and no stereotypes. Today's roundtable discussion will be focusing on the United Nations theme, Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. You might be wondering, why do we need to focus on this theme? Truth be told, women are still and marginalized in the digital field. To discuss more is a panel of ladies, and on our panel we have a diverse group of ladies from varying backgrounds. Before we start, I will begin by introducing myself and allow our beautiful ladies to introduce themselves and tell us a bit more about what they do. I am Shanice Butcher, the youth chair and member of the Women's Committee and executive for the Public Service Union of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good day, everyone. I am Kalia Tony. I am a barrister at law and solicitor in the state of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am also Crown Counsel at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. So I'm a prosecutor.
Good day, everyone. My name is Marika Batiste, and I'm a second-year student at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College at the Division of Arts, General Science. I'm also an avid public speaker, and I'm a member of the Performing Arts Society at the college. Something in the technological era was nowhere on my mind, and I think this needs to change because seeing that the world is moving forward, we need more young people to be a part of this era because this is what our future is going to be like. But instead, my mind was on sciences or maybe law. So I think really educating and having more discussions like these, but involving more young people will help them to see an interest in these fields.
Anybody else would like to chime in on that?
I think she said everything about it.
Okay, and Mrs. Jones, thank you, Tom. You have pursued your bachelor's in a field that was once predominantly male, which is biotechnology. What are some challenges, if any, have you experienced as a female?
Well, I think the field is still predominantly male. As even from a university standpoint, most of my professors are male, most of my classmates are male, and even in the lab itself, biotechnology comes to light, you will find that they are owned by mostly males, and there's something called scientific advisory group, right? So these are people selected by the CEOs and the officers and directors to basically be at the forefront of developing scientific research, technology, software investors, stuff like that. And in a company that would probably have about 100 and something people on that board, less than 10 or 15. And that's still to this day. So you can see that even from my classroom, I could tell there was sort of a boys' club. Because when there was group work, you would find the boys gravitate towards each other, and the females would like, we would have our own little camaraderie, like other boys do it in But I think that was unfortunate because we as females have so much to offer, so many ideas, so many brilliant people, and I think the bias is kind of organized together and overlooking again the girls and women.
And Ms. O'Neill, as an IT specialist, what are some of the shortcomings you see right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it pertains to women's involvement in IT, and what can be done to address those shortcomings?
Before I answer that question, I was going to chime in with the bias. What I have been realizing as I have been researching this topic is that there's a lot of bias because at the initial stages like development, testing, and even software, women are not involved initially on gender. So a lot of the software is more tailored for default or made with male perspective. And I think one of the things that could be done is introduce women in more stages in their assessment and planning, so it will be a general design, especially things for women as well. And I think that is definitely integral. But on another note, I would say in my experience, because I'm in the IT industry and I work with men as well, I'm seeing that it is definitely true. When we're assessing software, men will see it from one perspective, and then a woman will come from a totally different point of view. And because we combine both of them, then we are able to make an effective product, IT product. So I think it's very important that women are involved in the IT industry so that whatever products that are produced, they can be enjoyed by everyone.
Okay, and just a follow-up question on that. What made you gravitate towards IT?
It was very interesting. When I was doing IT, I think our class was the first class that did IT in high school. Not to say I'm old. Yes, so I think we were the first graduates to do IT in high school. And it was very interesting. It was new. So there was that reputation. But the reason why I did IT was accidental. That was not my first choice. My first choice was accounting. But because I didn't have the finances to do what I wanted to do, and they were offering a scholarship in IT, I went to plan B. Because I tend to have plan A, B, C. I'm very like that. Probably from guides, from being in guides, be prepared. So IT was my plan B, and I went with it. It was difficult initially because I studied in Cuba, so the language was a bit barrier initially, but as we mixed more with the Cubans, then our language improved, and then I fell in love with IT. I don't know how I could have done accounting. It's just like a memory. It's a memory. I was like, why was I thinking of that? But yes, I love the challenge. It's interesting and has various platforms that you can use. It's very wide. So I don't think females should rush away from it. Oh, it might be hard because it has a lot of facets. There are very lot of facets in IT. Oh, so back to my question.
Right.
Okay, so in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, yeah, we have a few challenges. There are a few more women being introduced in IT in St. Vincent, maybe than in other countries per capita. But one of our main problems in some of the top positions in IT, they are predominantly male. And that could be seen as women important enough to put at the top of the helm of IT. So that is one shortcoming I see as well. And sometimes if a woman is at that position, sometimes she may not be as respected initially as a man because it's technically a stereotype, it's a male job thing. So it takes a while, she has to prove herself to be fully accepted in that arena. And as well, there might be a salary difference. A man might be able to ask for an increase and he get it, and a woman they might be, a bit more challenged. Same with the Grenadines, and as Mariko was saying with the education, boys more gravitate to IT and STEM programs. So I think in this area, what we can do to assist women in choosing STEM IT is educating and also economically, because some persons don't go to certain things. For example, I don't have a computer. All of these different challenges hinder women from going on to IT, and support from parents and support from teachers. So I think if there's a possibility that, for example, the government, they have mobilization, for example, they offer capacity building for women who are less fortunate. So maybe one of their programs they can introduce would be a STEM program. And also the non-profit organizations, there are summer programs as well, if they could assist or provide financial aid. So some of these STEM programs can be offered for free for females, because that is the hindrance in education, and STEM is expensive. And if you are from a background, a poor background, or you were abused, your finances is not going into that, it's going to food and shelter. So if we could help these persons, government could do programs, and the private and the non-profit could do these things to assist these women, I think this can be the foundation to allowing more women to go to IT.
I actually read upon that when I was researching the topic, and I remember an article where it said that most women are involved in IT and technology fields because they do not have the access to like devices or the proper education. And I thought that was really shocking, because I think I take for granted that I've always been immersed in like technological stuff and all of that, and I didn't take into account that there are places in the world where women don't have these kind of opportunities, and I think that's something that we really need to work on, and that's something that needs to change.
Yes, I agree. And even in St. Vincent as well, some persons don't have the devices, or they may have the devices because of assistance from government, but they don't have the internet. So it's a lot of things. There might be some policies or programs that can be worked out to assist these ladies.
Yeah, people also have to be willing, like people who are directly involved in STEM careers, they have to be willing to help our youth.
Right.
I think exposure to these different types of STEM related fields is going to be like extremely instrumental.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about education, yes, but we also have to be practical about this thing. People aren't aware of all the different career options in technology. So we need to not just have like summer programs, but what if we have like more seminars, short courses, all of these things, we could work on all of that.
Yeah, a national career fair where the students can come out.
And I think we need to also prepare them for the mental aspect, because women are going to meet the challenges if they do choose to go into these fields. So I think we should have persons helping them to prepare mentally so that they're able to weather whatever storms or challenges may come their way, because they chose this type of field.
Yeah.
If I can just add my bit to this conversation in terms of the accessibility. I do believe that maybe let us look in the future, in the next 10 years, 20 years, we may see more women getting involved in tech and IT. we are seeing now is a spin-off from 10 years before, where it was more stereotyped then, where the boys will go into that area and the girls will go into maybe economics and and the accounting aspect of it. But today we have seen a lot of girls in the secondary schools. Even let's go back to the primary school, because if you give a child a tablet, a 5-year-old child a tablet, that child can maneuver in that tablet. And it is a stepping stone into the IT as well. So let us give it maybe in the next 10 years, we may see our discussion here will come into a situation where we'll see more women into IT. And the way in which our world is going now is now digital. And so all the subject areas, it's no longer accounts, it will be accounts and IT. It will be science and IT. Because the pandemic has brought so much to us, where we now we have learned that we should not put technology and we could not put the digital aspect of our life on the back burner very longer.
That's
So
true.
this now where we have to make an effort. So the women now will access IT, any aspect of the digital and the technological aspect of our life.
I also think we need to do a little bit more than that too, because yes, although we were young people, we were always on our phone. I remember in high school, I hated doing IT. I would be on my phone for the entire class, but I hated doing the IT aspect of it. So I think we need to push for it to be more than just a hobby or a way that we waste our time, but actually teach them to try to go for careers in the field and not just see it as a leisure activity.
Yeah, so what I wanted to add was, as my colleague said, representation is very important. So I think sometimes the hindrance may be not seeing somebody like me, thinking it's possible, and that's kind of a demotivating factor. And also, we have to try to make people aware that even if it's not specifically IT, so many fields have technological aspects.
Very true.
Within every industry, there is somebody doing something that needs a technician, needs somebody to manage the software, needs like those jobs as well. Even if you don't see it in the forefront, let them know that they can still be involved. So instead of in school saying, okay, males do this and females do that, you need to tell them the possibilities are endless with anything,
Right.
because we are in such a digital age. Because even at work right now, we have a display that we're collaborating with a company, and it's about women in construction. How many people would think about females and construction
Right.
in the same sentence? But it's happening. We don't see it. But I think in St. Vincent, as you think, but overseas it's happening all the time. And the technology is what's giving females the opportunity to even think about pursuing something like that. Because it's not about just brute strength or the male or what they can do physically. Females can operate things just as well, if not better. But so I think that's also a major part to add to the curriculum.
Okay, and just a follow-up, because based on this discussion, and I would have had this discussion up to Friday, where they were saying that CX is even thinking about digitizing the examination.
Yes.
And that now might bring a disadvantage to persons who do not have that access to technology. How do you think that the syllabus can be curtailed in such a way to make it easier for those persons?
I think what you mentioned earlier, the government helping to provide stuff so that more persons have access. So we had the one laptop per child,
Yes.
more programs like those, so to help to kind of break the gap so that more people have the opportunity to learn technologically and this stuff. So maybe that's what they can do to help to ease this transition.
Okay, so let's turn our attention to the laws that are in place now. Cyberbullying. And Miss Tony, you are integrally involved. You're a prosecutor, and it has been a growing concern that more and more women have been subjected to online gender-based violence. What laws are in place to help protect persons?
Okay, so I am glad that you said persons, because yes, it is true that women have been subjected to online gender-based violence, but so have men. And I think a lot of the times we focus on women only, but the legislation that's in place in St. Vincent isn't gender-specific, so it speaks about persons. When you're talking about online violence, you're really addressing your mind to cybercrimes. And cybercrimes focus on computers, electronic devices, and different networks that are either targeted or used to commit an offense. The Cybercrime Act of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is probably the only piece of legislation that deals with online violence in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I don't have enough time to go into each offense that's listed in the act, but I would like to highlight a few of the offenses, and hopefully that inspires people to pick up the legislation. You can find it online. You can just type in the Cybercrime Act of St. Vincent and the Grenadines 2016 in Google, and you'll find it. It'll pop up. So one of the offenses in that act is the violation of privacy, and that speaks to when a person either captures or stores or publishes an image of the private area of another person without that person's consent, and that person, or the person whose private area has been captured or stored, has a reasonable belief that the public will not see their private area. The person who's responsible for either taking the image or storing the image or transmitting it, they have committed an offense. We saw recently, well, I don't know how many persons are aware, but in February of this year, there was a recent Vincentian case where someone had been charged for the violation of privacy, and they pleaded guilty. They would have shared photographs, forwarded photographs of their ex-girlfriend's private areas to a group chat, and now they're facing the consequences of that. So that's one way that the law can work for persons. Cyberbullying is also considered in the act. Sexual harassment by electronic means, harassment by electronic means. There's also libel in the Cybercrime Act. So, there are different things that, different offenses. The only difficulty that I think we find with the protections in St. Vincent is that they are after the fact. So while some persons might be deterred by the fines that they may have to pay, or the risk of imprisonment, therefore, someone still has to experience or suffer some harm to get that protection, and I think that's probably the most heartbreaking part of it all. So find the act, read it. It's very helpful to know what your rights are, how the law can work for you. That's the only way you know what you can do then to protect yourself.
Because I was going to ask, how often do you have these things being reported? Because as a teenager, I see on social media numerous times about videos like that being leaked. And I'm wondering, how many persons who fall victim to this know that they have a right to report and have that person charged or whatever for that violation.
And that's the thing, I think a lot of people aren't aware of what the law is and how the law can work for them. And if you aren't aware and you don't have someone in your corner that is aware of these things and is pushing you to seek the protections available by the law, then nothing is going to happen. And I don't think that these things are reported half as much as they should be. And reporting is really the initial stage, that's the first stage. That's what you have to do in order to get any kind of recourse legally. So that's the first step that you have to take, reporting it. And if you don't report it, then nothing can happen, unfortunately.
And the fact that the law is available online. You see, that's another way that technology is working for us. So even if you weren't aware before, it's at your fingertips. You could just look it up and see how you can have the law to work for you.
Yeah.
So this is where our cell phones and our tablets
Come in useful, right?
to us.
Yes.
So no longer we just take a call and make a call. So these are things that, so at a glance we can know what the law has to offer. And another thing is that surfing some of the websites can be a bit tactful to some persons. But say once we try our best to, be educated about it can help us. So we don't longer just use the cell phone.
And I found that, it's easy for us to scroll for hours on Instagram or, different social
But to
media
read
sites.
a document,
Yes.
that's where it's still.
Yeah, we don't want to do
when
that,
you get to the
but we
reading
have to.
aspect of it.
It is important.
I think one of the concerns for persons is understanding the law because it's not written in
the
layman's terms.
in a layman's term.
term,
So for me to go and research what laws are in place if somebody tends to violate my privacy, it can be a deterrence. But we also have to look at our first point of contact,
Right.
reporting. Sometimes you tend to go and you report a matter and it's not taken seriously.
Yeah.
What do you do if you try reporting and it's not being taken seriously? Who do you go to? Persons tend to get frustrated.
We have our legal
But the thing
representative.
about it is, once you make a report at the police station, it's supposed to be taken seriously.
To go and apply for some dates. And the reason for him asking for the vacation days is because he wants to spend some time with her to assist her now that the child is young. And he went and he made the application, but he was told that this is not a maternity leave because you are not the one with the child. The person with the child is the mother. Therefore, you will have to take that leave from your vacation. So, it is. I think it is taken away from the care that the father should assist with the mother as well. The father should be assisting the mother. So when she's at home all day, he leaves and he's at work. She's alone on without assistance, and she has to do everything at home, even taking care of the child. So I think the law should make provision for at least for a period of time for the fathers to spend time with the mother and the child, especially when they're living together. Especially when they're living together.
But it calls you to ask what happens if it's a situation where the mother makes more than the father and the mother is the one who should go back to work because she would be the one to bring in more income to support that said child and the father wants to stay home. What happens then?
Well, within the first 3 months of the birth of the child, which we would call that period is the period. So you taken into consideration the payment package will not be necessary now because the mother will be still paid. Once she's employed, she'll be still paid her salary. I think that is what the law provides.
Next, one question, that is enough for government workers or for everyone? I'm not sure that's for everyone.
Because
I think it would apply to everyone.
No, I think the 3 months is for government workers.
No, the 3 months also. I think it would because the NIS pays. I'm not really so iffy on it, but I think NIS pays as well. Pays the worker. I'm not too sure, but I don't know if somebody can assist in the research of it. But I think NIS pays. First of all, the mother gets a live birth payment, which lasts, I think, for 3. I think it's 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks. I'm not sure. I had my last son, he's already 25. Yes, so NIS does a payment. Also, once you are employed, because I think, yes, you should be paid, and even at the private level, because it's maternity. But at the private level, you should be paid. But where the the male factor in the private sector, I think that is where. So it depends on the private sector or the organization, the business policy that would affect whether he gets the maternity leave or not. If they have that is in place, yeah.
Yeah,
It has to be in place in order for him to get
in
that.
addition to that, yes, when I was having my child, I questioned it and realized there was no paternity leave because I had a C-section. So when you have a C-section, you're not as active as you should be. It takes a while for you to get back on your feet. So my husband had to take his vacation time to assist me for like about 3 weeks. And yes, but I do agree that once you can prove, or whether it's marriage, something that you can prove that you are living with the person, that the men should also get a paternity leave, whether it's at least 2 weeks. Yes, I agree with that. That a 2 weeks to assist.
I think because we're still in such a patriarchal social construct where the mothers are the homemakers, the fathers are the workers, the mother has the child, so therefore the father doesn't need to be present. I think if women were at the inception of these policies and creating all the legislation, the ins and outs of what should be provided, I feel like some things would have been a little bit more thought out, because I'm not seeing how, if both parents have a child, because it's not the same mother she carries the child,
Right.
I think the father is also entitled to some time to care for and assist the parent, the mother of the child. So I think some things need like some revision, generally speaking, in order to, because for example, in the case of a C-section, I think that in itself, invalidity needs some sort of, it shouldn't be just one size fits all across the board, and no is no and yes is yes.
So this is where we as women, we can make the change, we can make the change. So we have to combine, have a meeting, discuss it, have a discussion on it, because says also we are a part of the policy making.
Yes.
Our
You could
actions are a
propose.
part of the policy making. So if we decide we're going to accept it as it is, but yet we are at a disadvantage when it becomes our time, when we are directly involved, we are at a disadvantage. We may not see it because we may not be there at the time, directly involved, but directly affected at the time. But when it's our time to be affected, we tend to want all the support that we can get. So here, let us do the support now, because we are next in line.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they don't put themselves in other people's shoes. So if it doesn't affect them, they're going to stay away from it,
That's
even
true.
if they know that it's affecting other women.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get away from that selfish mentality, because we have mothers and we have friends that it might affect also. So if we see something that needs to be done, we should be willing to put our voice into the process for change.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And it's a strong disparity against us as women, because we are still expected to do everything. And if it changes, we are still at a disadvantage, because most of the time we are left without with the children without the help.
And I'm glad that you touch on the disparities, because I was just about to ask, what are some other disparities do you think that we experience as women as it pertains to gender equality and technology?
I will just probably name a few. The others around it will help me. Okay, so I looked at our work at the workplace, where women are not allowed to certain privilege. Now, a man may go on leave, and he can have his days, his 2 weeks, he can have his 2 weeks. And the woman may go on the same 2 weeks leave, but she may come back 2 days after not feeling too well. And within the hair, oh, you just came off of vacation. Vacation does not stipulate whether you get ill or not. So if you're not well when you get back on from vacation, you should be given that opportunity to maybe see the doctor. You are allowed how many days home uncertified and sick leave. You should be allowed it. We do have our women because of our metabolism, and we have our give me the proper word, I don't want to use it. That our monthly, you know, there are persons who have different effects. It affects some more than the other.
Yeah.
And so these are things that it is not man-made. This is natural, and so we need to be given that leverage. We need to be given that opportunity to take care of ourselves. And that is one of it. The salary aspect of it, we mentioned was made of it, where men are being paid more in the field, different in the field, like in the same field of technology, where men are being paid more for IT, you know, and women, my friend here said women may do the job even much better, and I would like to agree with her as a woman. I would like to agree with her. That, yes, because we are more soft. And where a man will say, just do it like this, just do that. The lady will say, okay, this is how you do it, and she's more comfortable with make you feel more comfortable to get it done.
And there are studies that show that business places where women are integral and where they help in like team building and stuff, the businesses do better. But still, we have all women being paid less than men when they're practically doing more because they help to keep the team together plus do their part. And still, we have this huge disparity where people don't think they should be paid the same.
And then another aspect of the disparity is, one lady said to me, she said, you haven't seen in our prominent, most of our prominent secretaries are women, but yet we have the men who are coming out as CEO. You know, they are at the top still. So the women are there as the permanent secretaries, which are right under the minister, and the bulk of the work is on them. Some of them, they will take their work home and they mingle with their family while they're working. But at the end of the day, we have the men attaining to being ministers.
Yeah, the higher
How
roles.
many of our women are, you know, moving into the area of politics so that we can have more women in politics and heading our country as ministers? How many do we have?
Not a lot. And I think
these are things that we need to consider.
all women they seem to be more content of being cheerleaders, because when you look at it, when it comes to campaigning and the promoting for like political roles, you see the woman at the forefront. You see them pushing the parties, pushing the persons running for ministers.
And they will
but
tell you that.
how many times do we see the woman actually running? And when we do have a woman who decides to run, they're bashed a lot more than the man in the St. Vincent, I feel, because I think the female politicians, they're given a harder time than the men are, because I think it's a Vincentian mentality, and maybe a mentality throughout the world, that females can't lead. And I think it's something that we need to move on from, because the world is changing and we can lead.
Well, as you said, cheerleaders, because this is what we have been told and taught, and we are expected to do, to cheer. And when we do that, we have been paid to do that in terms of position, and then the position that we are paid to go into are less than.
I would just like to say at this stage that the DPP is a woman. So yeah, she's in a leadership role and killing it. So,
Yes.
And there's
We do have a lot
I know.
of women.
I just wanted to make that clear.
and there's certain phrases that people use, because I remember growing up hearing behind every strong man is a woman. And I used to hate it so much, because I wanted to know, why should I be content to just stand behind a man? Why can't it be behind a strong woman there is a man? I never really understood that. And I think because we grew up hearing these things, it kind of sticks. And we think that we're supposed to be the supporters and the ones pushing men. But we can push ourselves, and we can go to the forefront and take leadership positions, because we can do it also.
And I would like to tell, I'm going to take it into the church now. I remember in a conversation, a very high conversation, the mention was made of the woman, the male and female, and they wanted to give, but they have the same level of education in terms of teaching technology, theology. And the question was, whom should we give the church to run? And the answer was, oh, let the man be the pastor. The woman will lead it. The man will be the pastor. He has the name, but the woman will lead it. So you see where we know we do have the strength. We are agents of change. They know that we are agents of change, and so we have to make ourselves, we have to take ourselves out of that bondage that we are keeping ourselves in as women and reach out. We have to reach out and get to the top. We are not minimizing the men, but we are just moving up. Moving on up.
But in addition to all of this, I just remembered that sometimes I was reading the newspaper in the employment section, and they had a posting. I can't remember if it was for a security guard or something of that sort. And the post said, "Must be male," or something.
Oh wow.
Something like that. And I was thinking, but I wonder who's holding that a woman can do exactly what they're talking about, because a woman won't be able to defend their own place or the goods. But I'm saying, even if you think that you need a male, there is so much technology and equipment that you can invest in just to ensure that there is an equal opportunity for everybody to do the job that they need to do. Even in, let's say, in traditional jobs such as security guards, construction workers, stuff like that. I don't think with all the technology that's available, it's fair to say only males can do those kinds of jobs. So I think it's just that people are not willing to invest to make, like, to bridge the bias, to give everybody an equal opportunity to do the same thing. Because in their minds, this is how it is, this is just what we need, and whether a woman needs a job or not is a male we're looking for. Right? So I think that's also disparity in terms of employment. Because I know a lot of women who maybe just as strong, if not stronger, who might be knowing self-defense.
Exactly, that's what they should have asked for.
And they should have
skills
given
in self-defense. So if they wanted to be 5'7" or higher, to look, because a woman could look, could look intimidating.
They should at least be given the opportunity to try for the job.
Exactly.
And suppose you have a woman who was able to do the job better than the man they chose. The woman wasn't given the opportunity to even try out for it.
Right.
Okay, so in defense of the male, sometimes we have to be specific. Given the job, if it was a security job, it depends on what is required for that particular area in terms of what are you expected to do. Because if it's probably to, there are certain things that you don't want to put a woman at risk for. So there can be some protective aspect of the job in terms of why they ask for a male. So not necessarily that it is for it's male oriented, but you have to be protective as well for the
But still,
I like to disagree.
The option should still be given.
No, I'm saying, okay, it's okay to disagree, but what I'm saying, you still have to be protective of the female when you are choosing the job.
Yeah, but
if
I
it's
think
a security, you don't know in terms of what area they want to put the man, if it's you have to be careful. So
I think the term should just be stipulated, and if the woman reads these terms and
Ex-
think that she's still capable and still wants to pursue it, that she should be given the opportunity to pursue it. and
They
she
all
knows
have
the
to sign
dangers
off.
beforehand.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you know,
They should have the choice to
Yeah.
pursue it. It's not their responsibility to protect
yeah.
or to look out for necessarily, but it's to provide the opportunity. And
For
when
all.
I myself is like, I'm willing to take this risk, I need this job, or I know what they need from me, I can provide it, and then I can say no. But you can't tell me no
Yeah.
before I even try.
Because
Yeah,
historically,
yeah.
women have been told what's best for them and what is
Yeah.
safe for them. I think they need to give us the option to decide, because we can decide for ourselves if we think we're able to put ourselves at risk. And if I decide this is something I want to do, this is the field I want to do, I won't be thinking of the dangers. I only know going into it and preparing myself for whatever might come because I took this job.
Okay, and on that note, can you give your perspective on how technology can be used to create equal opportunities?
In one area, in the modern female who may or may not be a parent and who is choosing to further education, if she chooses to further her studies at home through technology, she's able to pursue that online. She can do courses, she can apply to different universities, all while choosing to be with her family. So elevating herself even though she may not be able to physically go to the campuses. I think that's a very good way in which technology empowers women.
I think it also allows them to like work from home, so they don't have to physically go into offices anymore. But if there's a situation where they're physically unable to go into the workplace, or maybe they're at home with children or stuff, or maybe financial issues, technology allows them to be able to do this from their home, and so they're not disadvantaged in that kind of way.
Yeah, and I also agree. For example, for those who may have children or they don't have a job, they can also self-employ themselves because of technology. I'm seeing marketplace, Vinci marketplace, and all these things growing up, and you see a lot of young ladies. Maybe some persons overseas would send things for them to sell, and that's how they take care of their children. That's how they pay their bills. So this form of technology and how learning how to use it is very beneficial to women to further themselves and take care of themselves and their family.
And social media has become a job in today's society.
Yeah.
I was just about
We
to
have
say.
thousands of influencers, and they're making a lot of money from making videos, posting on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think this is a way that social media has allowed us to empower ourselves. So maybe some persons are not exactly fitted for like the school role or going to school. A lot of people don't fit in like academically, and social media allows them to make a living for themselves otherwise. So just because you don't make it in this area doesn't mean that you can't make it in another area. And it helps us to do that.
As simple as Vinci buy and sell. Men and women have the same opportunities there to sell
Exactly.
their products, you
Yes.
know. So yeah.
It's a
Okay.
win-win.
And what do you think can be done to encourage women and girls to explore careers in digitalization and technology? I know we touched some of it before, but what are some other ways?
Well, first of all, education. We
Yeah.
need to make education the sole aspect of this, so that we can have accessibility. The technology is there. It is open for all and sundry, and therefore we should ensure that we use the opportunity. It may seem expensive to access, but if we take it one bit at a time, we can reach places. So with women, we just had a conversation at the office in terms of possibly of working away from office, and how we can do it 7 days per week. And even thing, you can even use your weekends once you have the technology. So that possibility is very widespread. And so we just need to take up the opportunity educate ourselves. We have our phones, use it as much as possible, educate ourselves and make ourselves accessible to some of the problems that the pose that would pose itself against us. We try to access them, maybe through asking somebody. Never be afraid to ask question. Never be afraid to ask a question. How it is done? What can I do? It's always out there. There's always somebody there with the answer to assist.
And to add to that, not only by just telling them, but making it available so that they can have a hands-on experience, because some persons are more hands-on learners. So things like career fairs and taking them out to like business spaces that are doing technology, to have them more engrossed in the subject area, I think that would help to persuade them or encourage them to go into these fields.
Yes, I agree. I am not sure they do as much field trips as they used to do before. I think that needs to be coming back in. And as a result, because I'm also on the Digital Skills Task Force for CARICOM, and what we have been looking at based on webinars is that we see a need, in order for the digital literacy rate to increase, is to include the IT during the school hours. Because, for example, you could do tests online and all these things, integrate it. And that is a way for them to build up their capacity. And from my own perspective, I think it should be introduced from primary level. These kids are very receptive. When they started the teaching online with COVID, I taught my daughter how to go in and how to expand once, and after that, I never had to do it again. She just went in and she said, "Oh, you have to pin this so I can see the teacher only," and I'm like, okay. Yes, so they have like sponges. So I think it should be introduced, since a lot of these kids have tablets now. They should integrate it in some of the teaching from primary school so that it will be easier for them to adapt as they get older.
And I think, as you said, a lot of little children have tablets now, and I think we more so leave it up to them to just do anything they want, but some people. And I think we should help to instill in them that it can be used as a learning tool, so that as they grow, they know that they have this device and it can help them to better themselves and to educate themselves, rather than just seeing it as a something they can use to waste time or just be idle on.
That's true.
And just for some time now, we have it in the school curriculum. There is this career day has been developed, and I was sharing with my colleague here, where the children, when it's career, they dress with depicting different career areas. But it is very important that we take them away from the costume and take them into the educational, the knowledge part of it. So rather than just for that particular day, what the educational system can do is to lure the children into the career day. So make it a build-up where you train them, you teach them the different careers, and then you can have that career they can dress. But just for that one day when they will dress in that career day, and then the attention is just on how I look now. I'm gonna take photos, that's it work for them, because they know they normally would have persons, the professionals going into the schools to speak to the children. But that aspect, they sometimes they will forget what they were told, because the thought and all the attraction and the excitement is on their dress code. And it even happens to the parents. The parents are so excited in putting the children, dressing the children, but then they want to dress them in the best career clothing. But then what is it that the children are taking away from that plan?
And by doing that, it helps to expand their horizons to new careers, because even for those careers that you see children dressing as the same careers, doctors, nurses, policemen, you don't see anybody dressing like technicians and people who work in IT. So I think by educating them, actually having a sit-down conversation with them and telling them about the different careers, you can inspire them to dress as something that is kind of away from the norm that everybody might be dressing as.
Because there is this child, the parent, he said he wants to dress like a mechanic. And the mother asked, how would a mechanic? You want to dress like a mechanic? How does a mechanic dress? You'd have to put on an old, I said, no. A nice drum suit, Give the child a nice jumpsuit and let him look nice because it is a skilled career.
Yes, and very
And
financial.
financial, exactly.
Okay. Unfortunately, ladies, all good things must come to an end. And before we close, I would just like everybody to give a final word. So I'll start with you,
The
Beverly.
youngest one to start.
Well, you see, that's a bit unfair now because I started first. But if I would just like to reiterate what we said: to be your sister's keeper, and remember that as we celebrate Women's Month, to don't limit it to only this month. Let every month be Women's Month. Every month, try to see where that you can help to encourage and push fellow women, and don't forget that you are capable of so many things, and never limit yourself.
Alright, I just want to encourage everyone to read more, research more. Knowledge is power, you know, and we could make a lot happen once we are, equipped with that knowledge, you know. Use every opportunity that you have to talk about women's rights, address the challenges that we're facing, and that's the only how we can hope for better. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to encourage women. Um, it's International Women's Day, the 8th of March, and it's a time when you celebrate and recognize and celebrate women. And don't wait for someone to celebrate you. You celebrate yourself. Prepare yourself. Um, you know, assist another woman, a girl, to how to live the correct way, how to behave themselves the correct way. It is very important that we be good role models. There is always room for improvement, and while we are here today, it's not International Day. It's the 8th, so we still have a few more days. Consider somebody whom you can probably take a flower to. You can probably call and say, oh, I really appreciate what you would have done for me, and I appreciate what you are doing. Just lift up a woman. Don't take time, don't consider what bad the person would have done, but look in all the good that that person would have done and lift up a woman. And I want us to use this day as a leap for next year. And I'm sure PSU is going to have another session, maybe of a different nature. But while we are preparing ourselves for International Women's Day, let us prepare for 2024, and we make it bigger, better, and brighter, where we can celebrate our women in a more extended way.
Okay, well, I'd just like to say that Women's Day is coming up, and I also want to encourage women to look out for each other. And don't be fearful of being innovative and going into technology. Once you put your mind to anything, you can achieve it. You just have to put some hard work behind it. And just look out for each other and work hard to better ourselves as women, because we can do it. There's stereotypes out there. Forget about the stereotypes. Just focus on your dreams.
And for me, I would just like to say, for the women and girls who have dreams, who want to become something or try to achieve something, then you can do it as long as you believe in yourself. If you don't see representation out there in that particular area, you become that person to be the representative for somebody else who needs to see someone like you doing something like that. And technology is all around you. Use it to your advantage. Use it to propel yourself in ways you couldn't imagine, and continue to be a driving force and empower other women along your journey.
Okay. And as we get ready to observe International Women's Day, women, your contribution is valuable. No matter what you do, no matter how small, just being alive, it's a lot. And I just want to say thank you to all our women across St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the world. And never be afraid to try. Try might fail at first, but failure is not the last option. It's just a lesson learned. Do not be deterred. Continue to push forward. And as this year's theme said, be innovative. Try something new. Not everyone will understand your dream, but you. Push for it. And as we close, ladies, I just want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The discussion was very informative, and I am happy that we had this diverse group. Everybody would have contributed a lot, no matter how young, no matter how old, and it goes to show that as women, we all have something to contribute to our society. And on behalf of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Public Service Union, I just want to say thanks and for taking the first opportunity that was thrown at you to being a part of our panel. And I'm sure that somebody listening can relate to at least all or one of us. They can relate to something that you would have said to encourage them. And by closing, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to the SVG Public Service Union for sponsoring this event. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the venue, French Veranda and Mariners Hotel, for being a part and for actually just being ready as soon as they heard what we were about to do. They were happy and they came on board. Also, special thanks to Aldine Hair Studio for providing our panel with the makeup. Thanks to Jeremy Payne, House of Fashion, Sky Glance Media, and Bay Hill News Network for providing coverage for today's event. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been drinking all the time.
I couldn't risk that, girl. It is kind of weird now.
Definitely.